former president, George W. Bush, is breaking his silence about the current administration, saying he doesn't like the racism and the name-calling that's going on, and that the media is indispensable for democracy. He took a whole bunch of hits. Nixon took hits. Nixon had such a humorous thing about himself that he went on laughing, which was an entertainment show back in the day. You know, Don, get a sense of humor, dude. If you're gonna do this job, you better learn to laugh.
But you know, it's been... You started with George Bush, right? Yeah. The thing about this is that Donald has now done something I thought he would never do. I like him. I like the fact that George Bush... I like George Bush now, is what I'm trying to say here. I'm having trouble saying it.
You actually like W.
I mean, I was after this guy for 8 years. And now he has done something. He's made me like George Bush. I might even buy one of his paintings.
Well, remember,
I love George Bush.
remember that he was the only Republican during his administration that stood up against him and said, we don't need a wall, we need a better program. And the Republicans gave him such hell about that he had to say, okay, fine, go build the wall. They never did, but, you know, I don't mind a president that you disagree with. That's what you're supposed to do. But one who starts, you know, who starts with name calling, who starts with aggressive behavior, who starts calling folks who are actually got our back, saying, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. He has set up an aggression. Or maybe the other president has set up the aggression. Bannon.
But for 8 years, George W. Bush said not one word about Obama. This guy's in there 40 days, and the previous president had to speak out. The question is, what other presidents are now going to get on board? That's my question.
There's a real coarsening, I think, about our culture because of this new presidency. But what I thought about this morning was, you've got President Trump getting into office and instituting this travel ban against Muslims. Well, you have George W. Bush, you know, residing over 9/11. There were no travel bans against Muslims then, when you would think it might have made a little more sense. What they did was they had the federal government close the airports. And so what I think we're seeing in contrast is a President W. Bush, who really was a little more thoughtful.
Well, he was a little more. I mean, I always said he had more of a heart. There was, you know.
It's also interesting, the Bush-centered, even though President Bush hasn't been, you know, openly critical of the agenda, he doesn't like to do that in many ways. The Bush Center is holding immigration ceremonies, women's reproductive health programs in Africa.
Training Muslim women.
He had given a quote out saying there's many ways to speak your mind, and one of them is through action. And I think what you're going to see is a lot of his action comes through the Bush Center. So even though he may not be vocally critical of the president, he's going to let you know where he stands.
The equivalent to Bannon was Dick Cheney, in a way.
No, but Dick Cheney is nothing compared to what this president
he was pretty bad.
You
might like him soon.
He's a whole other thing. This guy, this Bannon cat is a whole other kettle of stinky fish.